Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Shruti Sharma.
Good evening, aspirants. Welcome to the Hindu News Analysis discussion brought to you by ForumIAS for the date 28th Feb 2023. These are the list of news articles for today's discussion. So for today, we will be covering 5 topics, each from polity, governance, art and culture, science and technology, as well as a topic from international relations. So straight away, let us move to the first topic of the day. First topic, Rajya Sabha panel seeks explanation from 13 MPs. See, earlier, a member of parliament was accused of videotaping the proceedings of the house. After that incident coming to light, the member was suspended from the house by the deputy chairman. Likewise, there are few other members who are said to be constantly disrupting the house from functioning. So to prevent that, Privileges Committee of the Rajya Sabha, which is headed by the deputy chairman, sought an explanation from 13 opposition MPs of Rajya Sabha. In that context, let us know about Rajya Sabha and also about Privilege Committee from prelims point of view. First is Rajya Sabha. Coming to the formation of Rajya Sabha, see, the creation of Rajya Sabha can be traced to Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1918, where the Government of India Act of 1919 created a second federal chamber named the Council of States. But then the relevance of Rajya Sabha was debated in the Constituent Assembly in the later period. There, few members argued that such a house over and above the Lok Sabha would unnecessarily delay lawmaking. However, many others argued that the second chamber would enhance the quality of debate and discussion. So, through consensus, the Rajya Sabha was formed and the power to it was allotted in the constitution itself. If we take our Indian Federation, although our constitution emphasizes on federal structure with a unitary bias, Rajya Sabha has its own significance in Indian polity, and it represents the voices of state, whereas the Lok Sabha represents the voice of people directly. Hence, Rajya Sabha is the upper house or the second chamber, or sometimes called House of Elders, that represent the states and union territories of Indian Union. Know that unlike Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha is called Permanent House of the Parliament, as it is never fully dissolved. And the 4th schedule of the Indian Constitution deals with the allocation of seats in Rajya Sabha to the states and union territories. Now coming to the composition, know that the maximum strength of Rajya Sabha is 250. Out of that 238 members are representatives of states and union territories, while 12 members are nominated by president. And know that as of now, the current strength is only 245, out of which 229 represents the states, 4 members represent the union territories, and 12 members are nominated by the president. Now coming to the election process, see, the representatives of Rajya Sabha from a state are elected by the members of that state legislative assembly. That is, know that there are 31 Rajya Sabha seats allotted to the state of Uttar Pradesh as per the 4th schedule. And here the MLAs from UP Assembly will elect the 31 people and send them to Rajya Sabha. That is why we call this house as House of States. And know that the representatives of each union territory in the Rajya Sabha are indirectly elected by members of an electoral college that is constituted specially for this purpose. By the way, only 3 union territories such as UT of Delhi, Puducherry and Jammu and Kashmir have representation in Rajya Sabha. Others don't have representation because they do not have enough population. Then we saw that president will nominate 12 members. No, here the members nominated by the president are those who have special knowledge or practical experience in art, literature, science and social service. This provision is to provide eminent persons a place in house without going through elections. But you will have a doubt here, right? Why should we have 2 houses in the parliament? There is already a house where members are directly elected by the people, but why we need Rajya Sabha in addition? So, what is the significance of Rajya Sabha? First is, Rajya Sabha ensures healthy bicameralism by providing some kind of accountability to the lawmaking process which is undertaken in Lok Sabha. That is, Rajya Sabha will meticulously analyze the merits and demerits of bills that are introduced in Lok Sabha. It also empowers its members to voice resistance, dissent or any disagreement if the Lok Sabha dominates, even if the Lok Sabha dominates as a primary lawmaking body. Secondly, the process of indirect elections acts as a passage between states, people and the parliament. Hence, this furthers the principle of decentralization by letting independent voices of state to speak for states' rights. Now, coming to the powers of Rajya Sabha, as said earlier, Rajya Sabha deals with state-related matters. As the Rajya Sabha provides representation to states, any matter that affects the states must be referred to it for its consent and approval. Secondly, if the Union Parliament wishes to remove or transfer a matter from a state list, the approval of Rajya Sabha is very much necessary. Then third one is regarding the All India services. Know that only Rajya Sabha can authorize the Parliament to create new All India services common to both center and the state. This is given under the Article 312 of the Constitution. And fourthly, with respect to the emergency conditions, if President issues a emergency proclamation either under Article 352, 356 or 360 at a time, when the Lok Sabha has been dissolved, then proclamation can remain effective only if it is approved by Rajya Sabha. We saw, right, Rajya Sabha is a permanent house and it will get dissolved. It will never get dissolved. So, now coming to its limitation, in case of money bill, only the Lok Sabha has the power to introduce it, and only Lok Sabha can exercise the final say over money bill. Second is no confidence motion. You have to know no confidence motion cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. Third is regarding the role of Rajya Sabha in functioning of Public Accounts Committee, and it is limited very much. And in case of Estimates Committee, Rajya Sabha has no part in it. So that is all about the powers and limitations of Rajya Sabha. Now coming to the Committee of Privilege. See, this committee consists of 15 members in Lok Sabha nominated by the Speaker. In case of Rajya Sabha, there is a separate privilege committee that will have 10 Rajya Sabha members who are nominated by the chairman of Rajya Sabha. See, its functions are to examine every question involving breach of privilege of the House, and the breach of privilege committed by the members of any committee is also referred to this privilege committee. Know that the referral is either done by the House or by the Speaker. In case of Rajya Sabha, the members of that house or the chairperson will refer the case to Committee of Privileges. And after such a referral of case, the Privilege Committee determines whether a breach of privilege is involved and makes suitable recommendation in its report. In addition to it, it also states the procedure that should be followed by House so as to fulfill its recommendation. Finally, know that the report of the committee is presented to the Speaker in case of Lok Sabha, or to the chairperson in case of Rajya Sabha, who may pass the final orders. So this is all about the article. So in this article, we saw about the role of Rajya Sabha, its significance as well as the limitation, and also about the Committee of Privileges. So with this, let us close this news article and move to the next topic. Second topic, Agnipath scheme is in national interest, says Delhi High Court. See, earlier we came to know that there were number of petitions filed in the courts challenging the constitutional validity of Agnipath scheme. And on Monday this week, the Delhi High Court upheld the validity of Agnipath scheme that was launched by the Union government. So in this context, let us know about the Agnipath scheme from prelims point of view. The government came up with a new Agnipath scheme for recruiting soldiers across the 3 services. And this new defense recruitment reform has been cleared by the Cabinet Committee on Security earlier. Here, know that the soldiers who are recruited under these schemes are called as Agniveers. This changes in the recruitment policy of non-officer personnel to the armed forces is termed as a radical shift in defense forces. However, there are some challenges and concerns which would require redressal. Let us see that one by one. So first, let us see what is this Agnipath scheme. See, it is a short service manpower model under which around 45,000 to 50,000 soldiers will be recruited annually. Out of this, 75% of the soldiers recruited will leave the service in 4 years, while only 25% will be allowed to continue for another 15 years under the permanent commission. So, majority of the people who gets recruited will remain in the service only for a short period of 4 years. Now, coming to the eligibility criteria, the new system is only for personnel below officer rank. That is, Agnipath model of recruitment will be done for people, those who will not be joining the forces as commissioned officers. And here the aspirants between the age of 17.5 years and 21 years will be eligible to apply. Then the recruitment standards will remain the same, and the recruitment will be done twice a year through rallies. Now, if we take the post selection scenario, aspirants once selected will go through a training of 6 months, and then they will be deployed for nearly 3.5 years. During this period, they will get a starting salary of rupees 30,000 along with some additional benefits which will go up to 40,000 by the end of 4-year service. Know that in that 30% of their salary will be set aside under a Seva Nidhi program, and the government will also contribute an equal amount every month. At the end of the 4-year period, each soldier will get some approximately 11.5 lakhs as a lump sum amount which will be tax free. In addition to it, they will also get nearly 48 lakh life insurance cover for 4 years. So in case of death, the payout will be over rupee 1 crore, including the pay for the unserved tenure. But you have to know there will be no entitlements to gratuity and pensionary benefits. Now if we see from mains angle, we can see its significance. First is leaner and younger force. See, as only 25% of recruits will be allowed to continue for another 15 years, this move will make the permanent forces much leaner with over 13 lakh strong armed forces in the country. Further, the average age in the forces is 32 years today, but because of this scheme, it is expected to go down to 26 in next 6 to 7 years with the implementation. Second is reducing the defense bill. See, reduced benefits from Agnipath scheme will considerably decrease the defense bill, which has been a major concern for government for many years. Third, with respect to All India All Class recruitment. This scheme will ensure All India All Class recruitment to the service, as this is significant for the army where the recruitment system has region and caste basis. So schemes like these would eliminate these divides in certain time period and will allow anybody from any caste, region, religious background to become part of the existing regiments. Fourth is the economic benefits. The skills and experience acquired during the 4-year service period will allow the soldiers to get employment in various fields. Hence, this will also lead to availability of high skilled workforce to the economy, which will be helpful in the productivity gains and overall GDP growth. So these are the few benefits which the country can get from implementing the Agnipath scheme. So these points are enough about the Agnipath scheme. So with this, let us complete this topic and move to the next one. Third topic, 1300-year-old Buddhist stupa found in Odisha's Jajpur. See, Odisha government through Odisha Mining Corporation is undertaking mining work in the Jajpur district. This mining work is carried out to supply Kondalite stones for the beautification project that is implemented around Sri Jagannath temple, which is present in Puri. So while carrying the mining work, stupa right in the middle of a mining site was discovered. And now the Archaeological Survey of India took control of the mining site and asked the state government to stop mining in the Kandolite mining site, which is at the Jajpur district. And in addition to this, the news article mentions about the scheme which is named as Augmentation of Basic Amenities and Development of Heritage and Architecture. Know that the scheme is implemented by the state government, which is the Odisha government, that had come up to spend nearly rupee 3,200 crores in 3 years to transform Puri into a World Heritage City. So in this context, let us in brief know about the stupa which is discovered recently, along with some facts about stupa and the Archaeological Survey of India. First is Buddhist stupa. Know that stupa is an important form of Buddhist architecture. See, simply a stupa is a burial mound. In Buddhism, the earliest stupa contained portions of Buddha's ashes, and as a result, the stupa began to be associated with the body of Buddha. See, it began as a small circular earthen mound known as Anda, which is here. But after some time, with the inclusion of artwork, it gradually evolved into a more sophisticated structure. And know that stupas were constructed in sacred locations since it is associated with Buddha's life. And if we take the structure of stupa, See, stupa consists of cylindrical drum with a circular anda and a harmika and chatra which is present on the top of it. You can see it from the picture here. See, anda is a hemispherical mound that symbolizes the mound of dirt used to cover Buddha's remains, and the square railings on the top of the mound is called harmika, and the central pillar which is supporting a triple umbrella form the chatra. See, the materials used are the unburnt brick which are used at the core of the stupa, while the outer surface are made by using burnt bricks. These burnt bricks are then covered with a thick layer of plaster. And know that there are Medi and Thoran at the external layer, which most often would be decorated with the wooden sculptures. Here it is. Some important stupas are like Sanchi Stupa in Madhya Pradesh, which is most famous for the Ashokan stupas. Then it is Piprahava Stupa, which is in the Uttar Pradesh, which is said to be the oldest one. Then there are stupas like Rajagriha, Vaishali, Kapilavastu, Kushinagar Stupa, built after the death of Buddha. Stupa at Bairat, which is in the state of Rajasthan, is famous for its circular mound and a circulatory pathway. Likewise, the stupa that is mentioned in the news article is said to be 4.5 meters tall, and the initial assessment showed that it may be belonging to the period of 7th to 8th century. As of now, only these information are available. Let us see if we could get any more details from the ASI in the future. Now, coming to the ASI, see, the Archaeological Survey of India is the premium organization for archaeological researches and protection of cultural heritage. This institution functions under the Ministry of Culture. Know that, it is very much important. And note that it was founded in the year 1861 by Alexander Cunningham, who was the first Director General of ASI. Now, if we take the functions of this institution, maintenance of ancient monuments, archaeological sites, remains and national importance is the prime concern of ASI. Besides, it regulates all archaeological activities in the country as per the provisions of Antiquities and Art Treasure Act, as well as Monuments and Archaeological Sites and Remains Act of 1958. For the maintenance of ancient monuments and archaeological sites and remains, the entire country is divided into 24 zones. And know that currently this ASI institution administers more than 3,650 ancient monuments, archaeological sites and remains of national importance. Its activities also includes like carrying out surveys, or exploration and excavation of archaeological sites, conservation and maintenance of protected monuments, etc. So this is what the ASI do. So from this topic we know what is a stupa, and we also saw some important facts about stupas present in India. Then we also saw about ASI. So with this, let us close this topic and move to the next topic. Fourth topic, the New START Treaty on pause. The news is regarding the suspension of New START Treaty by Russia. See, on 23rd Feb of this year, Russian president unilaterally announced that Russia is suspending the New START Treaty that it had with the United States. The reason that Putin conveys is that the Western nations, along with the support from the United States, are trying to destroy Russia and are supporting Ukraine to defeat Russia in that ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. See here, Putin also said that the drones that were used in Ukraine war against Russia had been modernized with the NATO's expert assistance. So for these reasons, Russia unilaterally suspended the last remaining nuclear arms control treaty with the United States. So in this context, let us know about the START and the New START treaties, as well as various treaties that were signed between the United States of America and Russia. First is the Strategic Arms Limitation Talks 1. It began in the year 1969, and under the interim agreement, both sides decided not to construct any new intercontinental ballistic missiles. In addition to it, both countries took pledge not to increase the size of existing ICBM silos significantly. Besides this, they also went ahead to fix the limit on number of submarine launched ballistic missile, as well as submarine launched ballistic missiles carrying submarines. Second treaty is the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty 1. which is nothing but the START treaty. Know that the United States and Russia signed the treaty in the year 1991, and this treaty involved on-site inspection, the regular exchange of information, as well as the use of satellites for verifications. And then if the countries find any excess delivery vehicles using these intrusive verification regime, the found missile carriers will be destroyed. Know that this treaty limited both the countries from deploying more than 6,000 nuclear warheads and a total of 1,600 ICBMs. And by the way, the START 1 entered into force on 1994 and got expired on December 5th of 2009. Then third one is the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. See, this treaty was signed in the year 1993 that called for reducing deployed strategic arsenals to 3,000 to 3,500 warheads. And it also banned the deployment of some multiple warhead land-based missile, but know that it never came into force. Then fourth is the Strategic Offensive Reduction Treaty. This treaty was signed in the year 2004, under which the United States and Russia reduced their strategic arsenals to just 1,700 to 2,200 warheads each. Now the final one is regarding the New START Treaty. The New START Treaty is officially known as Treaty between USA and Russian Federation on measures for reduction and limitation of strategic offensive arms. See, the treaty was signed by the then United States President and the Russian President in the year 2010. Then the treaty came into force in the year 2011, and then later on it was extended in 2021 for 5 more years. So as per this treaty, the treaty limited both sides to hold 1,550 warheads on deployed ICBMs, and both sides met the central limit by 2018. Also know that it limits each country to 800 deployed and non-deployed launches and delivery vehicles. And know that two countries cannot hold more than 700 long-range missiles and bombers. And if we take the compliance mechanisms, detailed procedure for the implementation and verification of central limits and all treaty obligations are part of the treaty terms. Also, the treaty provides for 18 on-site inspections per year for US and Russian inspection teams. In addition to that, the regular inspections mandated by the agreement have not been held for the past 3 years. Initially, the reason cited was because of coronavirus pandemic, and later the inspections were withheld because of weakened relationship between Russia and the Western nations. And the article concludes that Russia had just suspended this treaty and it had not withdrawn from the treaty completely. So this move would not immediately trigger any arms race between the two powers, but it can be inferred as a part of Russia's political messaging at the time when West is providing massive assistance to Ukraine amid the year-long conflict. So this is all about the article. So in this we saw about various treaties between the United States and Russia, and also about the New START treaty, which was in news for 2 or 3 days. So with this, let us complete this topic and move to the final topic of the day. Coming to the final topic of the day, organ on a chip, a tech which mimics disease system in laboratory conditions. See, the article reports about the organ chip and its usage. And last year, the United States government passed an act called the Food and Drug Administration Modernization Act of 2.0. This move is set to boost the research and development of organ chips. And in addition, the article also highlights the complexities that are associated with clinical trial of a medicine. Where we know, right, scientists determine the efficacy of a drug by using it on animals. Here, some researchers point out that use of animal models in preclinical trials for the cause for enormous failure rates in drug testings. This is because animals can mimic some human diseases, and most of the disease that affects human does not affect the animals in the same proportions. So because of this reason, clinical trials using animals do not give us a true picture on the efficacy of a drug. And so scientists looked for some alternative models which could mimic human diseases. One such is the organ on a chip model, which gained a lot of attention in the last decade. So our discussion will be based on that only. Let us see what is this organ on a chip. Tissue chips that are designed to mimic the functions of human organs are nothing but organ on a chip. Know that it is a small device that contains human cells in a 3D matrix. See, a first human organ on a chip model was developed in the year 2010 by the professor of bioengineering and director of WIS Institute, which is present inside the Harvard University. See, it was a lung on a chip model that mimicked biochemical aspects of the lung and the breathing motions of the lung. And know that few research groups in India have also been developing organ on chip models, where researchers are also trying to mimic different disease states using the chips. In addition to it, the organ on chip models also helps in predicting the outcome of treatment better way than the conventional cell culture systems, where the researchers grow cells in plastic dishes in the laboratory. If we take the properties of the organ on a chip, a tissue needs to satisfy three main properties. First is it must be three-dimensional and it must have multiple different types of cells, because an organ is made up of all kinds of tissue types. Thirdly, it must have microfluidic channels, because every single tissue in body has vasculature to bring in blood and nutrients. So these are three properties that the organ chips need to have. So earlier, in addition to its health application, there was a news that NASA was planning to send small devices containing human cells in a 3D structure. This is known as the tissue chips or organ on chips, which they plan to send it to the international space stations. By that way, NASA planned to test how they respond to stress, drugs and genetic changes. So this is because the initiative from NASA seeks to understand the role of microgravity on human health and disease in a better way. Also, it can help in better understanding to improve human health in the planet Earth. So that is all about the news article. So with this, let us move to the question discussion for today. Now coming to the previous year prelims question, consider the first question. In India, extended producer responsibility was introduced as an important feature in which of the following? The options given are: option A, the Biomedical Waste Management and Handling Rules 1998, option B, the Recycled Plastic Manufacturing and Usage Rules 1999, option C, the E-Waste Management and Handling Rules 2011, option D, the Food Safety and Standard Regulation of 2011. The answer for this question is option C, the E-Waste Rules 2011. This is direct fact-based question. See, the extended producer responsibility is one of the main feature of E-Waste Management and Handling Rules of 2011. Know that according to this rule, the producer of electrical and electronic equipment has the responsibility of managing such equipments after its end of life. Thus, the producer is responsible for their products once the consumers discards them. So by this way, the government has taken steps to prevent environmental pollution. Second question, consider the following statements. This question was asked in the year 2022. Kindly have a note of it. First one, the Constitution of India classifies the ministers into 4 ranks. That is, Cabinet Ministers, Minister of State with independent charge, Minister of State and Deputy Minister. The second statement says, the total number of ministers in the union government, including the Prime Minister, shall not exceed 15% of total number of members in Lok Sabha. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? The options given are option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, option D, neither 1 nor 2. If we consider the first statement, see, Article 74 of the Constitution provides that there shall be Council of Ministers with Prime Minister who shall be aiding and advising the President. And by that way, the President acts in accordance with such advice given by the Council of Ministers. However, the classification within the Council of Ministers has nowhere been mentioned in the constitution. Hence, this statement is wrong. And the classification of Central Council of Ministers into three-tier body, that is the cabinet ministers, Minister of State with independent charge, and Minister of State and Deputy Ministers are all British parliamentary conventions. So the constitution has not mentioned anything about the classification of Council of Ministers. Considering the second statement, this statement says that the total number of ministers shall not exceed 15% of total number of members in Lok Sabha. This is correct. See, as per the 91st Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003, the Constitution introduced an article 75 1 of A. According to this article, it states that the Union Council of Ministers cannot exceed more than 15% of the number of MPs in the Lok Sabha. So the answer for this question is option B, 2 only. Now coming to the mains question, Agnipath will lead to leaner military, savings in pension, but there are challenges beyond the bold step. Enumerate. So aspirants, you can take note of this question. You can write the answers and you can post them in comment section for peer review of it. So with this, we have come to the end of the news articles discussion. If you can understand the concept well, and if you like the method of teaching, please like, share and comment, as well as subscribe to ForumIAS for further updates. Thank you for listening.